All right, let's talk market sizing. You know, that big, impressive number everyone loves to put in their pitch deck. But what if that number, the one your whole strategy might be built on, is actually just an illusion? Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on a super common mistake in revenue projections that could be leading you way off track.
So, let's just get straight to it. That bottom-up revenue model you've got, the one that feels so solid, so real, well, could it be built on a really dangerous flaw? We're about to dig in and find out.
Okay, first up, the precision trap. And it's called a trap for a reason. See, the whole bottom-up approach, it feels so right, doesn't it? It seems so logical, so precise, that it's just incredibly easy to trust it without a second thought.
And the appeal is just so obvious, right? I mean, you're not just grabbing some abstract number from a generic industry report. No, you're starting with a tangible list of potential accounts. You count them up, you multiply by some average price, and boom, there's your market size. It feels so grounded, so credible because you're using real names, which ironically makes it feel dangerously accurate.
But that feeling of accuracy, that's exactly where the problem is hiding. And this brings us right to the heart of the issue today, the flaw in the average. We're about to uncover a huge structural problem that could be sitting right there in plain sight inside your own financial models.
This right here, this quote says it all. Averages hide dispersion. Think about that. The second you use just one single number for your average contract value, the ACV, what a typical customer pays you per year, you're basically papering over all the critical differences in your market. And what happens when you do that? Well, it almost always makes your revenue projections look way bigger than they really are. Okay, to really see how this works or doesn't work, let's do what so many businesses do. We're going to build a quick market model. And we're going to start with just one simple, clean, and oh-so-tempting number. A single, uniform average contract value that will apply to every single potential customer.
And there it is, 25,000 euros. So clean, so simple. This is our assumed ACV. We're basically saying that on average, every customer is worth exactly this much. And spoiler alert, this is where we make our first big mistake. From here, the math looks super straightforward, right? You start with your market. Let's say it's 1,000 potential accounts. You multiply that by our nice uniform ACV of 25 grand. And that's it. You get your total market potential. Couldn't be simpler, or so it seems.
And voila, 25 million euros. Now that's a number that'll get investors to sit up and pay attention. But the thing is, it's an illusion. It's a house of cards built entirely on that one flawed assumption. So now let's knock it down and see why.
So how do we fix this mess? Simple. We stop modeling a fantasy and start modeling reality. And what does that mean? It means we've got to introduce segmentation, because the real world of B2B sales is anything but uniform.
Because, let's be real, any market you look at is never going to be one size fits all. So in our little example of 1,000 companies, they're not all the same, not by a long shot. The vast majority, like 60% of them, are small businesses. Then you've got your 30% in the mid-market, and only a tiny slice, just 10%, are those big, juicy enterprise accounts.
And here, this is the absolute key. These different types of customers, they do not pay the same price. It's not even in the same ballpark. An SMB might pay, 10,000 euros, a mid-market customer is probably closer to 30,000, and a big enterprise deal, that could easily be 90,000 euros, or way more. That single clean average of 25K we used earlier, it was completely hiding this massive critical difference in what people actually pay.
So, the right tool for this job is something called a weighted ACV. Don't worry, it sounds more complicated than it is. It's not just a dumb, simple average. It's a much smarter calculation that considers two things: how much each type of customer pays and how many of each type of customer there are. This is how you get to a forecast that's actually rooted in reality.
All right, this is the moment of truth. Let's look at the real revenue picture. We're going to put the two models side by side. The simple, feel-good story versus the cold, hard, segmented numbers.
Okay, just look at this table. It shows you exactly how distorted things get. The flawed model on the left, it says the SMB segment is worth a whopping 15 million euros. And at the same time, it thinks the enterprise segment is only worth 2.5 million. It's completely backward. Now look at the realistic model. The SMBs are correctly valued at 6 million, and those huge enterprise accounts, they're now properly valued at 9 million. Your whole picture of where the money is completely flips. So what's the bottom line? That simple, flawed model? It overestimated the total market by nearly 2 million euros. That right there is the cost of using one bad assumption. And this isn't just some rounding error on a spreadsheet. No, this is a major mistake that can lead you to pour money into the wrong sales teams, set totally unrealistic targets, and basically build your entire business strategy on a foundation of sand.
And believe it or not, the problem is actually even bigger than that. Using a single static ACV doesn't just ignore the differences between customer types, it ignores all the other messy, real-world stuff too, like, discounts, timing of upgrades, different contract terms, and your competitors. The real world is complicated, and a single average just pretends all that vital complexity doesn't exist.
So this all leads us to a final, really important strategic point. We have to move from just telling a good story to developing real intelligence. It's about being honest with yourself. Why are you doing this market sizing in the first place? And then you have to choose the right tool for that specific job. When it comes down to it, you really have two paths you can take. You can use the uniform ACV model. That'll give you a great fundraising narrative, a big, simple number for a compelling story. Or you can use the weighted segmented model, and that gives you operational intelligence. It's a detailed, accurate map that you can actually use to make smart, real-world decisions. So we'll leave you with this one question to really think about. Take a hard look at your own market analysis. Is what you have a story designed to sound good and persuade people? Or is it a strategy designed to actually help you win? Because as we've just seen, those two things are definitely not the same.